The meaning of life is to find your gift. The purpose of life is to give it away. Pablo Picasso said that. And today's guest is Charlotte Blair, a strengths coach, mentor, community builder, and founder of the Strengths Partners. Once a corporate sales leader, Charlotte now helps individuals and teams unlock their unique potential. She's helped thousands of people worldwide, yet brings every conversation back to curiosity, courage, and connection. From beekeeping to business, Charlotte brings her whole self to the table, and today she's bringing that self to us. I believe that the first conversation we need to have is with ourselves. And if we understand ourselves, we have a better chance of understanding others. When we know yourself, you can grow others, and strengths coaching and self-awareness is something that Charlotte knows all too well. Hello, Charlotte.
Oh, thanks for having me. I love that quote. Beekeeping to business.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that was one of the first posts that I read about you on Facebook, was a video of you with your beekeeping. So how long have you been a beekeeper?
Only about 5 years, actually. I had a riding accident that meant that I could ride again, but I didn't want to risk riding again because I broke all my ribs and punctured my lung, and it's just full of titanium. It's not worth bending that lot. And therefore I had bought my husband a hive of bees, and he had been on a course, and then I sort of started doing it with him and then got more passionate about it than probably he did. So it's gardening and beekeeping is my new hobby that replaces the horse riding.
Excellent. You're my first beekeeper that I've met. And at the time I was interested because my son and daughter-in-law were having issues with a neighbour who had bees, and they were concerned about their children getting stung. So I think that's why your video really connected with me to start with. So in my book, I wrote about how often we connect the dots about where we are now when we look back, and a pathway comes to the fore. If we look back in your journey, Charlotte, what would we find?
Well, it depends on how far you wanted to go back. You would absolutely find a myriad of experiences. I didn't go to university. I left school as quickly as I could. You would find a lot of things that happen at pace. You'll find a lot of accidents, meaning accidents of, well, let's just jump in and try it and see what happens. And, accidental success, accidental, errors that we learn from. You'll find a lot of fun. You'll find a lot of connection. You'll find a lot of positivity. But yeah, I kind of done lots of different things as that test and learn. I say my life is a journey of test and learn.
And so where did strengths-based work come into the journey?
Yeah, so that probably first came, well, I do know it first came in 2009, but was it really part of a journey then? No, it was probably a unconscious catalyst. I worked at the time for Verizon, the big global telco, and got to discover my strengths there as part of a team workshop, and looked at my report, remember going, yes, this sounds like me, put it in the drawer as many people do, and didn't really think about it. It wasn't until I actually managed to, I had an amazing opportunity to transfer with Verizon from the UK to Australia. It was sort of same job, different view out the window. And I guess I didn't mind my job, but I didn't love my job. And then I had the opportunity to attend the Stephen Covey 7 Habits course. And that was the absolute catalyst for me of, do I really want to be remembered on my 80th birthday of somebody that's fun but sells IT? No, I didn't. What it got you thinking about the things that were important to you, what your mission and purpose was. And actually, if I think about it, like there was a defining moment I wrote in my book about one of my best days at work. And this sounds a bit weird, is I think it was the Sydney Olympics. We arranged a lunch with the people in the office, and you bought a dish of your country of origin. So, if you were Indian originally, you bring in a dish from there. We bought a coronation chicken from, England. Is a very British dish. And I loved that moment. I absolutely love seeing people coming together, conversation, sharing over food. Yet it was nothing to do with my day job, but it was a really beautiful, lasting memory of a great day at work. And that then got me thinking about, well, gee, how could I transition my career to something that was more meaningful? What did I enjoy doing? And my mentor at the time, who was also the facilitator of the course, said, I think you need to revisit your strengths. So I, dug them back out again. I uncovered 6 through to 34, because before I only knew my top 5. And that was really sort of eye-opening and reignited. Like I connected with my strengths before, but I didn't really do much with it. This time it reignited, and I did something with it, and realized and saw why I love connecting people. And the more I found out about strengths, the more I wanted to find out about strengths. And it took me off down this path of becoming a ICF accredited coach, a Gallup accredited coach, and then sort of headed off down the path of finding out more about facilitation. So yeah, it's about 10 years now. That was a long story, wasn't it?
Well, it's an interesting story, but I'm thinking that some of the audience may not really even know what the Gallup strengths and weaknesses are. So can you explain to us, having done the test, is it called a test? Having done that through you, I have some awareness, but could you explain it for me?
Sure. Yeah, we'd probably call it an assessment. So
That's
you have things like Myers-Briggs, you have DISC, you have Herman Brain, you have Insights. There's lots of different personality assessments, different assessments out there. CliftonStrengths is slightly different in that it focuses in on talent, and they would define talent as naturally reoccurring patterns of thought, feeling, and behavior. So one would take the assessment, which is about 177 pairing questions, that identifies exactly that, how you naturally think, feel, and behave. And from that talent, we then can develop those into strengths. So I have the talent as somebody high woo, which stands for winning others over. I love meeting new people. Like, strangers are just friends I haven't met yet. But how could I use that in a work capacity? And I'm high communication. At school, I was always told that I talk too much. But how can I use that in a wise way to be able to embolden others, give confidence in others, take people on a journey, use it for coaching, use it for facilitation, use it for training? So really, it's just an assessment, but it focuses in on the positives. Often we take assessments and it says, you're not very good at this. Let's fix this about you. Whereas CliftonStrengths is, what makes you unique and amazing already? Let's strengthen those and make them better. But also be mindful when they might get in your way. So I'm an activator, which when I shared my past, is all about everything at pace and speed. That can get me in trouble sometimes if I go rushing off into things and making dumb decisions and, don't weigh up the options and just charge headlong in. So even when you refer to weaknesses, sometimes our strengths, if not used in a wise way, can be a weakness versus what's at the bottom of our report. That's not necessarily a weakness. It's just not a motivator.
I found it really interesting. It came up with connectedness was one of my top 5. Which I really agreed with. It's what I also love to do. And another one was also individualization. And I do see people as having very unique and individual skills and strengths. And having been a classroom teacher, I guess you're attracted to or encouraged to see people as individual. And so I found it really fascinating. Is it like DISC that if I did the test again, the assessment again, would it come out the same way, or is it determined on the day that you answer or the day that you might read it?
Yeah, good question, and probably the most commonly asked question. The chances of you answering it, those 177 pairing questions exactly the same way is quite slim. But Gallup have got a lot of research around this. There's over 34 million people that have taken the assessment. It's been around about 25 years. They've got a lot of retest validity. And the test retest validity is 0.7. So if connectedness, for instance, was number 1 now and individualization was number 3, chances are that connectedness is still going to be somewhere high for you. It might not be number 1. It could be number 2, but the order is less important than people think it is. You know, they get the report and see a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And they believe that that's in a rank order. Well, we don't see the weighting of them. They're really just, I describe them as ingredients that go in to make a lovely curry. If it's a chicken curry, you know, maybe for you, the connectedness is the chicken. It's a core ingredient. So they could change, but they don't change that much. They just jostle around in order.
I thought that could happen because when I looked at the other 10, they spot on as well. Really.
Exactly. They're all core ingredients. So, you know, I know for me, there are 34. So for your listeners, there are 34 different talent themes. We all have the same 34. But how they show up, they're very personalized. So there's no two people whose connectedness will read the same. You and I share individualization, but our descriptions won't read the same because you've got connectedness and I've got, you know, something else and individualization. And therefore, you know, the flavors and the dynamics change a little bit. So it's an incredibly personalized report. But it is that sort of top 10, 12, you know, maybe 13 that are the go-to tools that you just naturally default to. And instead of just being a natural default, how can we be more intentional to use them more to, you know, be happier, more engaged, and teams be more productive?
I found it really interesting looking at the part where it says what I need. So not only was it able to help me look at strengths that I had, but also it was quite good at depicting where there may be an area that I need to fill. And perhaps that is where it helps me seek out the right people to help fill those
That's right.
gaps
Yeah.
with me. So
that's what I love in team workshops, of identifying who your powerful partnerships might be, and to be able to articulate to the others, this is what I need from you to be at my best. So if somebody high intellection needs time to think and process, keep talking at them the whole time is not going to yield the best results. Giving them time to sort of think and digest and reflect and process is invariably what they need.
And when did you decide to form a community?
So to form a community, there's a number of stages to that one. I formed a community on the Circle platform as a result of returning from an event last year. But I guess in a way, I've been part of a community and in a way led a community for quite a while. So, you know, I've been a Gallup accredited coach for 11 years. As I mentioned earlier, I'm a woo, so very socially courageous. Love meeting people, get energy around others. And I remember probably coming up 10 years ago, going to Omaha to attend Gallup's big, you know, strengths summit. You know, global strengths coaches around the world came together and attended their learning sessions. And I loved that. And I met some amazing people who are lifelong friends. Then during COVID, I think it probably accelerated during COVID. All of a sudden, you know, things closed down. People were posting on Facebook, oh my gosh, you know, I'm now being asked to do a virtual training. How do I do that? And I think using my arranger and my woo, I was like, well, let's jump in and give it a go together. Like, I don't know either, but hey, I'll arrange a call and let's test it together. So it kind of started there. I had also the year before at the, you know, a Gallup's conference, run a session on leading teams through change using strengths. And somebody posted on Facebook page, has anybody got any materials on strengths and change? And somebody said, I attended Charlotte's session. And I said, I can share my resources if you like. And lots of people said, yes, please, me too. And I thought, well, there's an opportunity here for coaches to share more with each other. Then, this is kind of like the story part of it. Then probably in only a couple of years ago, Gallup stopped inviting independent coaches like myself to share at the event. And I thought, well, that was such a shame, such a lost opportunity. And therefore, I arranged an event, 3 years ago for coaches to come together and do exactly that in person, connect with each other, learn from each other, and share with and from each other. So we're coming up in a couple of weeks' time for our third event in person. And as I say, it was after last year when people said, "Oh, this is so amazing. It was the second event. It's so amazing. We love this. I wish we could do it more often. It's a shame that we only do it once a year." And therefore, I started that community on Circle. But in effect, I've always been part of a community. It's just been a lot more intentional. And when I say leading the community, do I lead it? Maybe I don't lead it, but I'm the person, I'm the connector. I'm, a bit like you. I'm not high connectedness, but I am the person that brings people together and connects others. So it's like, oh, Terralyn, you must meet Jennifer because she's also based in the same location, or Angeline,
Yes.
you must meet Susan because she's looking for somebody to help her with ghostwriting. So
Yes.
I've often
Yes.
said if I had another job, it would be as a recruiter because I'm always going, oh, I know that person's looking for a job and that person needs a job. And how do I put them together?
I was once described as a matchmaker, actually,
Mm.
and a ventriloquist. And one of my strengths is being that conduit between people, very much so. So I understand that. But I also think there's just so much value in a community. And I know that during the COVID time, my community that had been going for 7 years with in-person events, we went online, and it was that community online space that actually, was a sanity saver, not only for the people in my group, but also for me as well. It, gave something to focus and an opportunity. And it was, like you said, and when I build a craft market, it's a shared interest that people have got and they want to share and learn from each other. And I'm all for community, but
Yes.
yeah.
Well, I know that's why you and I get on so well because we have similar, values and beliefs around that. And yeah, I mean, there's just so much wisdom to share. And in general, most strengths coaches I know have such an abundance mindset and therefore are sort of generous and sharing with each other. It's more about, what can we share and offer out versus the scarcity of, oh no, it's mine, I'm going to keep it to myself. And that means we can all be better. We can help more people. The reason why we're strengths coaches and want to help people uncover their absolute true potential is probably not for the money. It's for the mission and the purpose and the belief. And the more that we can help each other do more of that, then we accelerate the movement. I mean, Gallup have got I think an objective to help over 1 billion people discover and use their strengths. They won't be able to do that alone through corporates. They need coaches like us, kind of creating the ripples out there.
Absolutely. My husband's just come home, so I don't know if all this background noise is going in the recording or not.
I can't hear anything.
I just recorded a conversation recently, which I think is coming after this recording, actually, with an organisation called Little Big Foundation. And it's another community of a different sort. And it's a community that's built in a neighbourhood setting in property development areas and part of the major project to bring people together, because this need to connect is such an important human need, and people come together for all sorts of reasons. So there's communities out there for everybody, and it's a matter of finding the one that meets your needs and the shared interests that you have. So I think we've covered what are two key moments that shifted your path, I think. What's one big win and one big challenge that you've had since you started facilitating or bringing the people together for your community?
I think one of the challenges it is sometimes I want to say engaging people, and picking up on what you sort of said just before, different people need different things at different times. So sometimes if somebody's quiet in the community, I might make the assumption that they're not getting what they need from it, and oh gosh, what do I need to do to make sure that they are? But invariably, I reach out and they're going, yeah, no, there's just sort of something going on for me right now, or, my mother's ill or something's happening, but I'm still getting the value. So I think a challenge is with that individualization that you and I share. I'm sort of trying to tailor to everybody, but I don't always need to do that. And, I can try and customize too much and sort of create extra work that I don't need to. What I've learnt, which I would say then is the win, is to leverage other people within the community. So, I get to know who is really great at what, and somebody might post a question and I don't have to be the person that answers it. I might say, hey, Stacey, what do you think to this? Or Antonia, you've had experience here. Or sometimes if I just wait, somebody else will chip in. So I don't want it to be Charlotte's community. I want it to be the strengths coaches community, and that it doesn't have to be what I say is gospel. It's, how can we learn? So yeah, it's that challenge. And, and sometimes it still pops up of, oh, that person's gone very quiet. Are they not getting what they need? And invariably it's just sort of touching back and go, well, they are, and other people are often offering what they need. It's not always about, what I might have given.
That's right. I think it's because we care.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So actually empathy is one of my other strengths, and sometimes it can be very annoying because I feel too deeply.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And significance is one of mine, and I want to have an impact. And if I think there's an element where I'm not having as much impact as I could, or somebody's not getting what they need from it, I go, oh, what do I need to do? But I'm also very mindful of it's not for everybody. There are some people that go, I don't want the conversations. I just want the recordings, or I just want the resources. I don't need the community aspect. And it's like, well, that's okay. People will take what they need and join if it's right for them. It's like, if it's not right for if it's not right for you, like, don't join type of thing.
For sure. So what's next for you? If you were to look ahead 3 years, where would Charlotte like to see herself?
Yeah, interesting. I rarely ever look 3 years ahead. Futuristic is also one of my talent themes, my strengths. And I often say 6 months is the furthest I usually look. I say that, and only yesterday I posted in the community, I'm already thinking about 2026 event, pitch your favorite venue to me. So that's actually 12 months out. I think for me, it's more of the same, but bigger, better, having a greater impact. I last year decided to, again, test and learn. I probably previously spent a lot of my time working with corporates. Well, actually, what would happen is probably 80% of my revenue would come from corporates and only 20% of my revenue from coaches. But I would spend a lot of time. I made a conscious effort after the event last year that, I can't keep giving everything away for free. It needs to be a better balance. So that's where I've been, as you and I are part of Janine's Elevate group, intentional about spreading my time wisely. So I think what will happen naturally through that test and learn process is what I'm really passionate about and where I can have the biggest impact will probably grow naturally. And I guess, if I was to have a wish of what the 3 year would be and a bit of a kind of plan to put it out there, is that community, there are other community managers, other community hosts. There are little subgroups that sort of break off from it based on what people want. I loved it that Jan, one of our members, said, oh, can I start a book club in the group? And it's like, yeah, sure. Let's just make that happen. So empowering people to have little subgroups off it. I think I will still be doing the corporate work. I want to be doing more traveling. I think that was a bit of a mission and goal for me. I think you and I might have spoken about this last week, that, I wrote on my own game plan. I can work from anywhere. So if I'm going to be working from France, that's okay. If I'm going to be working from the US, that's okay. So I'd like to, as my husband sort of gets closer to retirement, travel more. But I certainly don't see myself retiring in the short term. It's sort of doing more, but at the pace I want, in a location agnostic. That shouldn't really matter. But I'm not somebody that writes out a 3-year plan or a 5-year vision or whatever. I sort of, take each 6 months as it comes, which is why I love that kind of, 6-month quarterly planning. All right, this is what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to focus on. Yes. Look too far ahead. It's like so much changes.
That's right. And it can change in a flash. So yes. I find it very difficult to do that as well, because I feel like I just keep constantly evolving anyway. So it's just a natural state. So Charlotte, what is the best way for people to make contact with you? Is it through LinkedIn or through the community itself?
I'd say LinkedIn is a good first port of call. I am a open connector. I connect with anybody, although if somebody tries to, sorry, that's my alarm going off telling me to put my skin cream on. I am an open connector, with the exception of those people that connect with me and then immediately try to sell me something. That's the most annoying thing in the world, and I'll often then just unconnect them again. But LinkedIn, or just by email, charlotte@thestrengthspartners.com. I have 2 websites, but anybody can find me on charlotteblair.com.au as well.
Just going on the annoying messages that you get when someone wants to sell to you straight away. I had a message today from someone wanting to help me with podcast, and my podcast is so great, and they wanted to help me make it even better. And I have only just recently launched this series, so I was able to see exactly how many listens there had been. And I very promptly went back and I said, I'd like to know which one it was, because I don't actually think you've listened to any of them. And I thought, don't treat me like I am an idiot, really. Be truthful. And I am very authentic and transparent, and I was not impressed at all.
So nothing annoys me more than connecting and immediately, oh, you might like mine, or I'd love to talk to you about whatever. It's like, I'm happy connecting with you, but let's build a little relationship first before you immediately try and sell me something.
Yeah, my words are always explore is the first one, and just let's see what synergies there might be out there. So if you came to a YTM event, or I was running a workshop, we might use the conversation cards to just get things going. And I know you have some awesome cards with visual prompts on them that I absolutely loved. But the question that you might get is, if you were to take one photo of your life right now, what would it be? Depicting your life right now, what would it be?
I think it would probably be a picture of me in the garden, but holding my phone, talking to somebody. I think that would be that piece of enjoying nature. Like, I love going out and walking the dogs and being out in the garden, kind of regardless of the weather, really, but staying connected. So I may well be having a conversation with somebody or listening to a podcast. I think that's the picture that would be not on my phone scrolling through social media, but somehow being connected to, another person. I think would be that picture.
That's a great picture. And do you have a quote to finish our conversation today?
My favourite quote is the Oscar Wilde quote of "Go confidently in the direction of your dreams and live the life that you've always imagined."
Thank you very much for your time today. And I love that, because I also think your time matters. So make the most of it. So thanks, Charlotte.
Exactly that. Oh, thanks for having me on. It's been an absolute joy talking to you.